Summer Game Fest. Let's talk about it.
The weakest showing.
Yes.
Solely because the biggest issue, and we talked about this a little bit, is the messaging on what the show exactly is has never been defined. It makes it seem like it's this big event, you need to tune in and focus.
This was marketed as the replacement for E3.
Yeah. And it
wasn't, and it never really has been.
No.
And so I found it interesting that in the lead up, Keeley was like, "Oh, you got to come watch. You got to come watch. Big things are happening." And then we get here, and some big things happened.
Yeah.
But not a lot of big things. Not enough to justify a 2-hour runtime. But what did happen is Keeley come out on stage and say, "Hey, look at the top 10 selling games on Steam this year. A bunch of indie games. It's a bunch of new IP next to like some IPs that we know. Civ 7 was another one that like you would expect to be there. Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Some other. It was a lot of IPs of like things. But you saw Expedition 33. You saw Split Fiction. You saw 2 random indie games that like are huge on Steam right now that I'm forgetting the name of. Schedule 1 was one of them.
I never looked at the list again.
And so this show to me became we are about giving exposure to little people or little devs. Like little known devs. Which is cool. I'm glad that is. But why do we market it as a show where the big stuff is going to happen? And then everybody's mad at this show when the big stuff isn't there.
Yeah. And so that
Which, to be fair, I don't think the show was bad. No. I think it was well produced, well presented. They were clear about, hey, we're going to have an ad break here. You can tune out or you can go run to the bathroom and come back. And then we're going to get back to the showing of the new stuff.
Which they got through very efficiently.
I thought so as well. Yeah, in terms of SGF, I think this is one of the better SGFs. It's just they didn't really show anything.
Yeah.
Or they showed a lot, but just not a lot of heavy hitters.
Which is what people, I wouldn't say unfortunately, because again, the messaging isn't the most clear. But when people tune into something like this, once again, with E3 also having been a key thing in the past, you would think there'd be more than just a ton of indie games. So maybe, and there's, like, I see a tactic here where because you don't say we're going to show a bunch of smaller games that a lot of gamers wouldn't otherwise really care to tune in and watch, they tune in to watch it, and even if they might be upset with the showcase as a whole because it doesn't have those heavy-hitting things, they're going to see, games they otherwise probably would have never gotten eyes on.
I'm curious if Keeley has made the choice, not announced it, of course, because he still wants people to watch the show. So you're not going to say, hey, this is going to be the smaller show. You're not going to say that, of course. But I wonder if Keeley's made the choice of saying, I want to save all the big stuff for Game Awards, which you'll notice this last Game Awards had a lot of big stuff. And then I'm going to make SGF my exposure show where we talk about 100 different dev studios, all with 5, 10, 23-person teams, and give a focus to that and give exposure. If that's what Keeley's doing, I applaud you. You're doing the good work in the industry, right? Which is something that we don't give enough credit to Keeley when he does it. We only ever criticize him. But if that's what you're doing, hats off to you, sir. That's what the culture needs, right?
Yeah, and but at the same time, and this is the internet, so you can't really, act in a way where you're expecting to appease the internet. Because I see, even with like the showcases on Xbox and State of Play, there were tons of people coming out and saying, this is boring, I don't care about any of this, who gives a shit? So,
I wasn't bored.
I was never bored, no.
I wasn't excited, but I wasn't bored.
During SGF, I was at times. But again, I see it from the perspective of you're showing games.
Souls-likes that we're going to get in this goddamn show, We got like 3 back-to-back.
Spread them out, at least. That's all, all you have to do is spread them out. And people aren't going to have the impact of there's tons of Souls games here. But especially because of how long SGF was.
Yeah.
And, but I guess to put a cap on it before we get to the actual games, the way people view these smaller indie games, I imagine what they would get traction-wise, having a social media post on Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram, TikTok, wherever.
Yeah.
Would it get as much attention? I don't think so.
No.
And so when you do what Keeley's doing, if it's intentional or not, I feel like it is intentional. I'm for it.
I'm curious as to see what we get at Game Awards.
Heavy hitting stuff, I think.
Yeah. I would expect so as well. Mortal, we're gonna start. We're just cherry picking a couple of games. We're gonna get through this topic a lot faster. Mortal Shell 2 announcement trailer. Connor, what do you have to say about this? I don't have anything to say about this.
Souls-like game. The thing about it is that the old Mortal Shell, which again I don't have experience with, it seemed very clunky. Design wise, armor wise, it looked cool, but I was. It's these FromSoft like games need weight to it, and this one seemed like it did. Seemed like there were some little interesting gameplay bits to it. But again, this is more of a criticism of the SGF presentation because there were so many Souls likes. It kind of got lost in the storm. So to speak.
They back to back this Mortal Shell into Code Vein 2, if my memory serves me correctly.
Mhm.
We didn't need that. That didn't need to happen, And yeah, I thought Code Vein 2 looked boring. This looks fine.
Pretty brutal. Like it seems
Looks
like
brutal, but
yeah.
it looks fine.
Which I do like because it's like, people were complaining about Doom Dark Ages not having their glory kills anymore. Here you go.
There you go, right?
Fill that
Yeah,
space.
sure. That's a 1-to-1.
When there's a demand, Tavin, fill it.
Sure. Yeah.
Guns as well. I don't remember guns.
The guns was tripping. Were there guns in the first one?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
That's the thing. It
Yeah,
seems,
when the guns came, I forgot about the guns. When the guns came out, I was like, whoa!
from an outsider's perspective, liking these types of games, it looked very like it was doing nothing interesting other than you had a sword and you would swing it every now and then.
And then guns came out.
Yeah, maybe they did then, maybe they did. I have no clue.
Chronicles Medieval. This trailer was narrated by Tom Hardy for some reason.
Because the game seems like it's going to be narrated by him. Same thing where it's Bannerlord, right?
Oh, right. This is the one with that ends with the thing. Tangentially, I know Bannerlord.
It's a strategy game.
Yeah.
In the vein you expect strategy games to be. You command widespread armies and you lead them on the battlefield. The difference is you play a leader on that battlefield. So you're in the mix with everybody else. So it combines real-time strategy with like action, action. I've never really played them that much, but action gameplay. You're in the thick of it. This seems to be trying to do that, but on a more cinematic scale, on a more AAA scale, because Bannerlord Saga, it's not the most, high fidelity game. And, the other cool thing about Bannerlord is that you can go off and do more monotonous. You can be a farmer, for Christ's sake. You can be a mercenary. And so you can kind of build your own story there. And with this being Forge Your Destiny, those kinds of taglines, it seems like you're going to do more than just play as a leader commanding a giant army. It seems like there seems to be more beyond this. So, like many of the other games, this is kind of what you're going to get by the nature of having a showcase like this. You just want to see more in-depth show-offs of what the game has to offer.
Griffin Fever is excited for Mortal Shell 2. Didn't play the first one, but Mortal Shell 2 looks goated, he says.
There you go.
There you go.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. Atomic Heart 2. I didn't expect us to get a sequel to this game.
Neither did I. And that's because, I played it.
First game was kind of a wet fart.
It was. Now, one of the things people criticized was the dialogue, right? The dialogue was not bad in Russian. The dialogue became atrocious. I'm not talking just the dialogue, but also the writing. It was different. It was awful in the English. It was really, really bad. It was jarring to see that's how people were playing this game from what I was playing. That being said, there was a lot there to appreciate about the game. This one seems like it's taking it to the max level. Like they used what happened at Atomic Heart and said, maybe just staying on the ground, hitting people with a pipe, playing with cool-looking weapons isn't enough. Maybe we need parkour. Maybe we need vehicles. Maybe we need character, expression. Because it seemed like they wanted people to have more open-ended choices in how they approach the game. And so the first game didn't really have that. It was kind of, here's a level, engage with it what you want.
Looking at? Holy shit.
Oh, dude, it's got Atomic Heart has style, the first one. And so it's already got that. It needs to build on gameplay segments, and level design. And it seems like it's doing a pretty good job here. This is way crazier than anything that happens in the first game. Like him running on the walls or him in vehicles. It amazed me because as someone who was able to bring down my expectation because I was really hot on this game when I was just seeing previews, this made me go, okay, maybe this is a Kingdom Come Deliverance type deal where they severely improved upon the first game.
Maybe it is. This feels like they are biting off way more than they can chew. Because the first one wasn't the best designed, most optimized game. It was glitchy, frame rate issues. Gameplay wasn't that good.
Took a while to came out.
Took a while. Game feel wasn't great. Now we're talking about all these different modes of play, all these different gameplay elements going on. That's a lot, and you didn't nail what you did the first time. correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the first time they bit off more than they can chew and failed at, and not failed at it, but like struggled to meet their own goals. And then 2, they just did it again, but just way better.
That is a good way to look at it. They kind of streamlined some stuff to make it more palatable to the average gamer. But the thing with the first game is that it was a really good game at its core. Had some faults here and there, but it had a better groundwork than Atomic Heart has. And so, are they biting off more than can chew? Maybe, especially because it's not the only game they're doing. Not even the only game they're doing in the Atomic Heart universe, which it also seems like they're trying to expand upon that because they had the Cube, like almost like a Battle Royale type looking game. I have no clue what that's going to be. They were kind of bare bones on that, but maybe they are biting off more than they can. Especially because Munfish doesn't seem like a big studio.
Is it a studio or is it an engine?
It's a studio. Because they're also,
okay.
They're studio.
Felt that boxing. This was the one that like made me sit up and go, "Oh, cool! That now we're talking. This looks super creative. We're taking Muppets. We're making them box each other. It gives me like Punch Out vibes in terms of gameplay. And yeah, hilarious trailer. Looks like a hilarious tone and story going on here. I really, really like the style that they've gone for here, and just this one's perked my ears up. I hope this one hits because it looks funny as hell. And I'm not one who thinks like comedy games are like the greatest genre in the world or anything, but for this one to grab my attention makes me go, okay, here we go. And also a Muppet inspired game showing up at a Jeff Keighley stage. All right, I see what they're doing here. That was smart.
It doesn't look like a video game, which is what's so amazing about it, because you see where it's going to work as one, mainly at the end.
Yeah.
A lot of this seems like...
A lot of this is like cutscene stuff that we're watching, and then, when we get into like the actual battles where they show off like the one camera behind your guy, then it starts looking like a video game.
Yes. This one, too, it's like, what kind of training are you going to do? It's probably that's where a lot of the comedy is going to come from, I assume.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even like, there was a shot there where like he's training by like plunging a toilet. That's probably just like a shake your mouse thing. Yeah, like a click left trigger, click right trigger, click left trigger, click right trigger, on and on like that. So yeah, I imagine very basic gameplay mechanics, almost just a lot of mini games almost. And then, we're just going to match that with really, really funny dialogue, writing, and just visuals.
Was this done in Unreal Engine?
Yes.
Okay, because,
music by Flying Lotus, which is crazy.
By the way, felt that? Get it? Felt
it, but they're made of felt? Yeah, it's clever. It's clever.
Yep. Another game that's on Unreal Engine, and going back to Monkfish,
Munfish. Bro, this one's Munfish Powerhouse, so I don't know if that's a different thing.
Oh, maybe it's another...
I don't know. Team Clout, this one is labeled by. This was the most impressive game shown at SGF for me.
Yeah.
Which has been shown up before. It didn't look this good. This looks good. Gameplay, tone, atmosphere is another survival horror type game. We're going first person this time. And I love everything about this trailer that they showed off. This gameplay trailer that they showed off at SGF. This looks awesome.
The badass thing about this is there's a YouTuber named Verihin. About 5 years ago, they did a tech demo, or an animation test for something called Ill. And it's this. And over time, that developed from, I'm just doing a little bit of videos here and there because he's a YouTube animator, and it formed into a video game. And you saw a lot of things that happened in some of these test footages that you can go and watch on YouTube. I can send them to you later, are captured in this game. So, like, it'll come a little bit later, but one of these infected-looking guys picks up an item and throws it at you. That exact same thing happened in the game, and I saw a little blurb about this. They're trying to make it to where the enemies you're fighting are... this is a
different thing. This is not what they showed at SGF. I'm just realizing that, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Damn.
Keep going.
But in that, like, it seems like they're going to be... They're kind of act like usual zombies, but they're going to be using the environment to fight. They are, of course, going to have body horror type things, which is going to come into the form of the bosses. Going back to those little videos they would use to show, it seems like they were establishing the baseline for those bosses just in these little fun animated videos on YouTube. And they've also made it to where these guys have a more distinct look to them, whereas before they looked like generic infected people, kind of bloated a little bit. Now it seems like their lab experiments gone awry.
Yeah.
And, it just looks so unique.
So
and the way
gross.
you control it looks so nasty.
Nasty.
Yeah, see, like there's the like almost verbatim what happens in a little gameplay segment. Dismembering enemies, like where you shoot matters, taking off their arms. Weird, and like it looks like there's going to be so many weird encounters in this game.
Yeah.
From these tall-looking guys, this fucking.
I like
thing.
what they're doing with perspective, with camera angles. I mean, lighting is off the chain here. Yeah, this looks dope. I hope they match and just what's happening in this world. Like it just invites intrigue. And yeah, it looks like we're doing a little more like action horror as opposed to like just regular survival horror. So you're probably gonna be shooting a lot more than normal, a la like a Resident Evil Village or maybe like a Dead Space or something.
Look
at this. Look at the boom. That was great. That was great.
Fucking
So yeah, this game looks great. I want to see more. I'm excited to see more. It's on my like. It's officially like I'm looking out for ill. I hope it comes to be.
Hope so.
Stranger Than Heaven. This is what is the name of the studio? RGY.
I can't remember the what it stands for.
So former or still makers of the Yakuza series, the Like a Dragon series and franchise. This is their new thing, formerly Project Century, now Stranger Than Heaven. This is their period piece, 1940s action fighter game and so forth. Looks good.
It looks very good.
Looks quite good.
You're murdering people instead of just beating them up. It didn't really show it in this trailer, but I
You're
remember
like
the last one.
You're a detective or something, right? Or
we don't know.
Right.
You're clearly half Japanese, half European on some level because you got blue eyes. So it seems like a mystery from how they ended the trailer. Him trying to find out who exactly he is.
RGG, not RGY.
RGG.
Yeah.
But this looks full of style. They're on a run right now.
It looks more visually impressive than anything else they've done. Maybe the Lost Judgment games that look about this level, but
Probably.
it definitely looks better than any of the Like a Dragon games. And so yeah, looks good. Looks good.
The jazz music, I loved how it was being used here. Very period piece.
Yeah, I like how meaty the combat feels.
Yeah.
like you feel heavier than like the Yakuza games present. Like it's just chunkier. We're very Jesus Christ.
Dodging bullets.
We're very chunky. And then we're making some choices in gameplay and so forth. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. But
they've got me sold.
They've got me. We'll see. And then finally, they ended the show with Resident Evil Requiem. This is Resident Evil 9, coming February 27th, 2026, if my memory serves me correctly. The trailer looks great. How they presented it was awful. Teasing us with hey, all of our Capcom games are on sale, and then coming back and having the creative lead be like, hey, we're making something, you got to give us more time. I thought that's all we were going to get, and then to end it with this, that was a very, very bad way to present this trailer, but the trailer's dope. I love the idea. We're obviously going a little bit more open-ish, open world light, I think, where the whole premise is you play as this new character, Grace Strongheart. I think her name is Stronghold, Strong something.
I can't remember. Everyone thought it was Rose. What's her name?
We thought Rose. Yeah, I thought Rose at first, and then I had to remember. It's a different name and so forth, different last name, all that. Which I guess like that could be a reveal is that this is Rose Winters, but that would be really lame. And she also kind of looks like Ashley Graham. She also kind of looks like Sherry. I forget Sherry's last name. I'd be more interested if it was a new character, just full-on new character that I think takes us back to like classic Resident Evil, where we're not following the legacy of characters so much as we're just getting these crazy stories within the world of Resident Evil. And we are exploring a destroyed Raccoon City post nuke. We're going back to the RCPD where it's all destroyed. We're seeing classic city locations and so forth. That's a genius idea. And so,
surprised they never did that before. Now that I think
right?
about it.
Like, why didn't we do this before?
They would always go back to it, but in the form of like what else was going on.
Yeah,
during the
this was happening at the same time. This happened before. This happened, and stuff like that. So, still a lot of questions that I have about this. Is this more actiony? Is this more survival horror-y? What game perspective are we using here? Is this third person, first person? What is it? So yeah, I'm waiting to see gameplay reveal. I'm waiting to see what the structure of this game is going to be. So yeah, we're in for an interesting one here. The change in style with the title treatment tells me we are doing something different, and it also tells me we're moving away from numbers. They did put the 9 in the queue of Requiem, but they just flashed it up, and it doesn't they didn't highlight it in any way like they did with 7 and with 8. So that tells me that we are going to move away from numbers. I don't know if they're going to market the next one as Resident Evil 10. I think we're just going to do subtitles from here on out, which
they did that a lot. But again, they did that a lot back when they were doing spin-off kind of games that were just the same level of quality. Same level of...
No.
What? Code Veronica? There was the one
with Code Veronica was supposed to be 3.
Oh, was it?
Yes, Code Veronica was 3. And then they were like, hey, because Code Veronica is a PS2 game, and the series started on PS1, let's shit out of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis and have a PS1 trilogy, and then Code Veronica is going to start, and then they went to 4 with GameCube and so on and so forth.
There was the other one, though. It was where there's 2 characters. They're kind of like trapped together. I think they may have been handcuffed together.
Talking Revelations?
No, it's not Revelations. It's one of the other ones that looked like other Resident Evil games I've seen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to remember what the fucking name is.
More often than not, a Resident Evil spinoff is garbage. There's not a Resident Evil spinoff title that people go, oh yeah, that's a great one. Code Veronica I see as a mainline title.
Yeah. Well, not though.
But it is.
Operation Raccoon City. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. So, anyways, Resident Evil Requiem, I'm interested in. I want to see more. I love Resident Evil. The premise has me excited. Show me more.
Yeah. Because remember the last time they went away from the Resident Evil formula that they seem to be kind of going back to with the remakes? They shifted to 5. 4, but then really the more action-y
adventure. But Resident Evil 4 remake is still very much in the style of the other remakes, because it's got a little more action, and it doesn't mean it's it's still slow and the gameplay is similar.
I'm just saying, man.
It's not like the shift that we went from Resident Evil Code Veronica and 3 into 4, where it was a completely different game.